you know, kind of like that.
Just like
So
that.
just like that. So I hope that I waited long enough. My wife told me to give it a little bit of time so you guys could hear me. I think I've been cut off, but hey, I think we're there now. So everybody here, welcome to the very first, the four beardsmen of the Bookpocalypse.
Cheers.
Cheers to that.
Cheers.
And our wonderful beards that brought us together.
But not too close together, otherwise we will get like the Velcro effect going on.
Tangled up.
For sure. And we're actually like, well, me and David we're pretty close. I mean, as far as the scope of which we aren't close to you guys.
I don't know. I'd say probably 500 miles is as close as we are, which U.S. distance might not be that much.
There's not an ocean between us.
There isn't. No, this is true. We could walk and meet eventually.
So I think we'll start out. We'll do some introductions. Let's go clockwise. So Daryl, go ahead.
Hello. So I'm Daryl DB Rook. I'm the author of Callous and Crow and the
Hey.
The Shadows of the Collegiate short stories. I'm a fully indie author, and I'm pretty new to this world. So welcome. Hello.
The beard himself, Tom Bookbeard. You have the wicked beard, bro.
It's long. It's 4 years. As
jealous.
Of a few days ago. So
it had an anniversary. Years. Happy anniversary.
Happy beard anniversary.
It's fully gained its sentience. And I stopped being Tom a long time ago. Now it's just Beard. Yes, I'm Tom Bookbeard. I review books a lot. Been doing that for a few years. But my first book is coming out next year. It's called The Corsair. It's a Sky Pirate fantasy.
Awesome.
Working on another follow-up book, which is completely different genre. It's going to be a Wild West deck building lit RPG called The Frontiers of Evil. That's pretty cool.
Nice.
Awesome.
Yeah. And you said there's going to be like airships, right?
Airships are in the Corsair. There might be some airships in the Frontiers of Evil. I haven't decided yet.
I'm very much looking forward to it. And then
Me
Mr.
too.
Bottom left.
Mr. Bottom, that's what they call me. Yes, David T. List is what it says on the cover. I'm a fantasy author. Hey, you got the same one as me, the author proof.
Funny story.
You have the first. That's the very first that existed.
Yeah, it is.
Anyways, I've written most recently Violence and Vigilance, which is a gritty epic fantasy novel. It's kind of long. It was going to be 2, but now it's 1. Came out August 4th, and I am working on the sequel as we speak. I'd love it to come out in 2024, but no promises.
Okay. I love that. And of course, I knew all this about you guys. And the reason we're all here, well, we'll get into that in a second. But I met everybody through this wonderful community. Daryl, Tom, David, just have been wonderful friends. And I've really personally been looking forward to this for a very long time. But to introduce myself, I'm Matt, or the Beard of Darkness. And I interview and review books when I have time, mostly interviews at the moment because I have 4 small children. But yeah, that's kind of how I met these guys, was through my channel. Very thankful for that. But the reason we're here is DB Rook. He came to me and Tom and David and had a wonderful idea. And I would love for him to talk on that for a few seconds, or as long as he would love to talk about it.
So without wanting to put a damper on things, I think, especially in the UK, I think there's a lot of political turbulence, a lot of nightmarish stuff going on, a lot of the world is burning around us. There's a lot of real grief-ridden stuff going on in this planet. And there's a community of people that love books and love reading and love writing who are holding all that fire at bay. And I just kind of imagined sitting at a kind of weird post-apocalyptic little clearing with an oil drum on fire talking about books while the world burns.
Yeah,
And that's what I'm doing right now.
I loved it because I was like, I had never really thought about that. Like, if the world's going to shit, right? What are we reading? Because we all love books here, and I feel like that's something we're definitely all going to be doing. So, we're going to be talking about so many wonderful things in regards to. I think it really what says is what's really important to us in books when it comes to a moment like that. What are we grabbing? That type of thing. So, how about we go into? We'll start off with our favorite ingredients in fantasy. DB Rook, if you want to start that off.
Favorite ingredients in fantasy. So there's a lot of old tropes in fantasy. There's a lot of stuff that's been done to death. My favorite ingredient, if I start reading a book and I recognize this, then I will love the book. And that is when even the characters are bored of the tropes. So the characters are sardonic and they're sick of the same old stories, and they're a little bit like anti-hero. They're a bit like, there's orcs, there's dwarves, but I'm sick of this. And characters that is just slightly wayward of the tropes. That's my favorite ingredient.
I'm just going to say, I can see we got John Douglas in the chat, so maybe we don't say that we're sick of orcs.
John. I was gonna wait a second for the comment, but yeah, John, he'll ask a question and it goes something like this: what is your favorite race of fantasy race, and why is it orcs? So Tom, your favorite ingredients in fantasy?
Yeah, I do like a good trope, and my absolute favorite one is the chosen one. And I know it's been done to death. It's really annoying. There's next to no way to make it original anymore, but it's just still so satisfying. But actually, my upcoming book, Frontiers of Evil, I've got an accidental chosen one, as in the chosen one actually gets killed by the main character, who is a bumbling old man.
Nice.
And he's the chosen one, not by his choice. So
Nice.
I think any
The runner-up.
The runner-up, and he's really terrible at it, which is really fun to write. But I like that, taking that trope and doing something new with it, and you get a lot of that in the indie book community because people have no shackles when they write these books. And again, you're going to hear a lot of indie stuff on this podcast because you've got 3 indie authors and a guy who sells a sweatshirt that says support indie authors.
Link in bio. Right. So David, go into your favorite ingredients, if you will, in a fantasy book series, trilogy, whatever.
If I were smart, I would have planned for this, but I'm not, as everyone will soon learn. I don't want to rip off Daryl, but I do like the idea. So, like, if I open a book and the main character he just can't be bothered, and things are kind of bouncing off him, and you can tell he's got a plan. So, like, the jaded, cynical, and who I'm thinking about right now, I recently read The Traitor by Anthony Ryan. Is it The Traitor the first? Either way, he's a young guy up first, but still he's just kind of not world weary, but just kind of a badass already, just off the rip. Another one that pops to mind is 16 Ways to Defend a Walled City. The guy, that one is just this sarcastic old engineer who can't be bothered, doesn't mind punching somebody in the face with no warning. Now, as far as that being a trope, the jaded ex-hero, I don't guess that's necessarily what that is. Sorta. Uprisings. I like uprisings. This probably comes back from, well, I don't know how far, but yeah, uprisings are a thing that I'm into. Pariah, that's one, not The Traitor. That's right. It's really
Alex
good
Valdir
too.
for the win. So me, a little backstory. I started reading pretty much period when I was 29. I'm 33, so I'm probably the youngest of the fantasy. I'm still a fantasy adolescent, if you will. But what makes me all nice and fuzzy inside is a really good coming of age, or what Tom said, like a chosen one, maybe a reluctant chosen one, which I personally get a little frustrated at, but love it at the same time. Because look, if I'm a chosen one, look, balls to the wall, baby. I'm taking that magic sword and slaying. But I love it. And I also love, and it may be because I read The Wheel of Time as probably my first, when I started this channel as the first fantasy, but not my first period, but when I really started kind of dissecting it and the writing and stuff. But an inn and a tavern, whether it's a chaotic bar fight, or we're drinking mead and listening to music, or it's just really cozy and there's a hearth, and it just makes me feel good, and I love to read it. So like I said, a chosen one, a coming of age, and a good inner tavern story. You're traveling, you're on an adventure, and you stop and meet new friends, that kind of deal. That's what I would do. So I kind of like to read that.
Journey is a good one. I like the adventure. I like adventure journey type.
Now, Journey, is that like as a trope, or is that a book?
Oh no, the band. No, as a trope. As a trope. Yeah, I'm thinking.
I hadn't even believing he was talking about the fucking band.
I dig them too, but no.
It's not the four beardsmen of the Rockalypse. Come on, guys.
Right. Not yet.
That's our other podcast. All right, next week.
So real quick, I want to acknowledge the wonderful men and women, boys, girls in the chat. So Alex Valdiers, we know, is here from his last comment. Thank you, brother.
Yes,
Nick Horvath.
Yeah,
fellow beardsman.
He's got an amazing beard too. I didn't realize it till today.
He's got a bear hat.
You got Alex, the amazing sideburns. We got the amazing beard from Nick, and even the ladies watching this right now are starting to sprout some facial hair as well.
Yeah, be careful.
Yes.
You and you.
Be careful hanging out on the beard, the four beardsmen. You're going to sprout.
Sprout.
E.O. Montague, I have to shout out the guy who pokes me with a stick because he really wants to see me successfully write. I absolutely value his friendship. He's here. He also does my Discord, helps me a lot with my Discord. So thank you. He doesn't have a beard, but he's got a wonderful mustache, like goatee.
I was going to say,
so
that's at least a goatee.
Exactly. And he's right. There's plenty of beard to go around here, and there's got to be. Knoxwich Book Life, thank you for popping in here. You're always here for my lives. I really appreciate you. And Corey brought his beard with him today. He's
Corey just had a book come out, which looks amazing.
Dude, he redid the art. Well, not him personally, but he had his art redone, and it's wonderful, Corey.
Yeah, really nice.
Better than what it was.
Yeah.
And also very, very Aragon-like, which I think was kind of the idea. But yeah, that is a Bookpocalypse read, if there ever was one.
Nice.
Absolutely.
There's something about a white book as well. I don't know why. There's something there.
And Corey, that's going to cost you $30, by the way. Is it too soon to joke about that?
Nope. It's never too soon.
I loved your book. That's my check.
Yeah, exactly. So Free Wolf, man, you're always here for my lives as well. He's a wonderful guy. He's writing himself. He sent me some short stories that are great. So thank you for being here, brother. Damian Buckley, thank you for popping in. First time watching live. Epic Beardery. Hello from England. Well, look at that. You and DP and Tom have a lot in common already.
We're from England.
Or at least one
and
thing.
Also, it's our first time being live. So kind of snap.
Awesome.
You
That's
might
amazing.
even get to understand us. That's good.
Yeah. And the wonderful Kay's Hidden Shelf. Hello, bringers of beards and Bookpocalypse. Thank you for tuning in. She does such a wonderful thing for indie authors as well.
And she started cooking recipes from books. It's amazing.
Bro, oh, really?
I told my wife the other day to check out, I think it's a cinnamon bun she does.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Books and cinnamon buns, count me in. John A. Douglas, I think he said this on his is maybe we were like dogging on the orcs or something. That's okay. I love a good orc. I'm a Lord of the Rings freak.
Orc lives matter. Okay.
Oh, I love this. Your legendary stoke and positive beardtastic vibes is a beacon
That's what we want.
in the darkness, brothers.
That's all we want.
That may have to be like the motto we go with. That was well written.
I feel we all need to
This guy's a
stroke the beard
writer,
for
isn't he?
this one.
It's like he writes books or something.
One day I'll be able to do more than this.
I hope I'm saying this right. Jamity or Jamedi. Whatever it is, I love it. But I want to say it correctly. DM me, brother. But I just come to compliment the glorious beards, the four, for a moment and go, hey, thank you for popping in. We appreciate that. I love going through the comments and just they're all different. It's lovely. Oki, some Oki dude, thank you for popping in, brother. You've got a wonderful channel yourself. Look at all these beards. Just look at them. What is that from? Oh, that was from a comedian, dude.
That guy. Would you look at it?
Would you look at? Just look at it. If you've seen it, you know what it is. If you know what it is,
you know.
Yeah. John Mitten, one of my good buddies through BookTube. He's just stacking the numbers. He's just got such a wonderful channel. I'm so happy for him. This is a beautiful amount of facial flowing locks. Thank you. I think that you'd look pretty epic with a beard, my friend. Consider it.
Consider it.
And yeah. Book Mama 87 said beard needs to make time for Curse of the Fallen. HC, I agree. I've started it, have not finished it, but what I have started is wonderful. If she's watching, sorry that I'm so slow. There's two people here that know that I'm very slow at reading. So
no judgment.
There's four kids that are like, hey, I know you've read 3 words, but let me grab your attention real quick, and then you're gonna forget those words.
I'm gonna let you finish, but
I'm gonna let you finish, but those
not.
3 words you said you're about to forget. Let's see. Wow, you guys are really coming through. I hope I'm not missing any, but if I do, resend them. Beard of Darkness, I guess I need to specify. No, that may or may not be my other half, so I know exactly who she's talking to. Ryan Scaffington, I need to update my I don't know what PFP. Anybody? Context?
Profile picture.
Profile picture.
Nice.
profile picture.
So
I was thinking of coding language.
Yeah, I'm thinking like, what don't I know right now? But no, that makes perfect sense. Yeah, reflect the beard. You have to. Let's see here. So we'll continue with the comments here soon. Let's go through, starting with Daryl, some of our least favorite ingredients when we come and chime into a book. Fantasy book.
Okay, fantasy book, yes. So I've got a very interesting relationship with magic. On one side of the scale, something that I really despise, and I don't see in a lot of books, but maybe in a lot of films, maybe in books. I hate the whole idea of spells with rhyming language. Do you get me that kind of?
I know what you're saying. Yes.
Oh, it makes me cringe. It makes me feel ill.
Does that include like Harry Potter spells, like the
Expelliarmus
and
I think Harry Potter. I mean, I'm not a huge fan, but I don't hate it. My kids make me watch it all the time. Harry Potter at least has got some invention in there.
it relies on Latin. Yeah, it's not just
Latin,
idiocy.
Yeah. It suits the mood of what she was trying to do, and that's great. So I'm not gonna hate on Harry Potter, but the whole kind of Disney-esque like rhymes and words that make this thing happen makes me feel funny. Because
gives me a funny feeling.
The scale, then I kind of the other end is the kind of really visceral, like horrible magic that hurts, that pulls from the soul. I love that stuff. And somewhere in the middle, I don't like all the kind of fireworks and the firebolts and the lightning. I like magic to be kind of a little bit not invisible, kind of. Yeah. I don't like the sort of. Don't want to get too manga on things, and like when they brought the Lord of the Rings films out, I thought they did the magic, especially the magic dueling, really well. It was like unseen, but still visible, still happening, but without the kind of boom, magic.
Did any of you read Seeds of War by Michelle Silver.
Dipping
that
in
has-
currently.
Fucking awesome magic system. The Smokesmiths, where
Yeah.
using magic comes with great consequence. That is a cool book.
Nice.
Awesome
Yeah.
magic.
You made
system.
that sound wonderful, Tom. It comes with great consequence.
You sounded a little
right
Australian
there.
just then, Matt.
I was going to say, I will do many renditions of a terribly done accent on this show. You can bet your
Can't
bottom
wait.
dollar.
we will all slowly swap accents as
We
do
will. I
more
can't
of
wait
these,
for that
like,
too.
It's guaranteed.
So,
yeah, I
Tom,
don't want to
Oh,
kind of
sorry.
hate, and I just want to say I'm not a negative person. I don't want to hate anyone that's got flowery magic lightning bolts, but that's my scale of magic that I like and I don't like.
you are allowed to be subjective, man. Everybody, I think people get a little bit too serious when they're like, "Oh, I loved that book, and that you didn't like it either. We can't be buddies."
Yeah,
You know, it's like, I'm sorry, we still can be buddies, but we can also be individuals as well. You know?
Yeah.
Tom, so what about you? What are you like? Oh, dude, no, I'm putting that shit down, man. I don't want to read that.
It's the know-it-all character who's only there to lore dump. And to give you
Give
an
us
example,
an example.
Hermione Granger,
Mm.
okay, in was that the Sorcerer's Stone or Philosopher's Stone, depending on what side of the pond you are, just sticks her hand up, reams out paragraphs and paragraphs about the world, about everything, about the magic system. It's like nobody does that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, can you imagine being at school and some kid puts their hands up and recites the fucking textbook from memory?
I mean, I feel like we all have an
good.
example of that.
Yeah.
It was in a book I'm reading at the moment, and it was done even worse than that, where just this character who doesn't really matter very much is just there to tell us
Just for
about
that.
the book and what's important, but still doesn't manage to actually explain what's going on. So it's just word salad and text. Yeah, I don't like that.
Strategized blabbery.
Yeah.
I love
It's like,
that.
hey, did
Yeah.
you know that a dragon's toenail is very good at medicinal elixirs? Great.
It's
Okay.
like I didn't.
I'm
I
reading a
feel
book
no
about something
smarter now.
completely different.
I love that. David,
So-
what makes you go? "Bleh"?
Yeah. What do you not like about Harry Potter?
Let's see. Like I said for the previous answer, I would have been smart to come up with something off the top of my head. I don't. And this kind of is broad. There are a couple things. First off, like you said, Tom, the folks that just spill the beans for no reason, and I've probably made some mistakes in my own writing. I definitely did in my first book way back 2014 of a person that's just there to, here are the details. Now you
Your
know.
first debut.
And my first debut, not my second, not my real debut.
I remember my interviews, David.
Pre-debut. Right. But also, and I just had it. Let's see. Dang, I just had it a second ago.
I totally fucked you
Oh,
up. I'm
so
sorry.
when our hero makes the choice not to kill, and I get it, to be heroic. Maybe I'm over heroic fantasy. Maybe that's the whole thing. But like, they make the choice not to kill, and everything would be better off if they just did, or everything would be better off. Their soul would be a little bit, or it'd be worse off, but everything would be better off if they just kind of got over their. And I'm not able to think of a book at this moment. I guess when I'm thinking about just heroes in general that just have this hang up where they'll do everything, but but they won't finish it. I like stories where the hero is going to say, there's no place in this world for you. And I'm selfish to say that, but sorry, you got to go. And
Yeah.
murder happens.
Murder's going down.
Yeah, because generally in that story, that generic story, they've slain 6,000 people to get to that point.
Right.
Anyway. Yeah.
And sometimes what they've done is worse than kill people, arguably.
I can think of a couple things. Yeah. I love those answers. I'm just kind of like digesting real quick because I know what I'm going to say, but sometimes you have to kind of think about the projection of it. I think what I turn myself I won't like DNF a book hardly ever, but something that may make me DNF a book quicker than I normally would is and I'm gonna say an author's name, and I've read a book from this guy and I love it. But I've read some stuff that I had to slow down and say, I don't know if I'm going to continue. It's not DNF'd yet. If it ever is, I'm not afraid to say that I DNF a book, but a very, very hard magic system. I'm leaning toward Daryl in this. I'll give an example of something I truly loved, which will help me explain what I truly hate. I just got done reading, and it took me quite a while, guys, because I'm a slow reader, but I got done with We Are the Dead by Mike Shackle. And he doesn't have this, as Daryl wonderfully put it, this flowery, boom, bang, explosions, shape shift, boom, I'm a wolf, now I'm a sparrow, and now, you know what I mean? I love a very soft, and it's going to be the kind of book that I write as well. There's going to be magical things. There's going to be mystical things happening for reasons, but I'm not going to have people waving wands and shalakazam and having things happen right in front of them so quickly. There's going to be consequences, like what Tom said about Seeds of War by Joao Silva. I hope I said that right. So yeah, if I'm reading a book and all of a sudden there's like these magic classes, and then like every single there's like specific classes to magic, and then like the reasons you use them, and if you use them this way, it's you have to say something else. So a really, really hard magic system is the best way I would put it. Really kind of turns me away. Maybe another thing is too much dialogue where it's not needed. Of course, that's kind of very basic when it comes to writing, and like an author kind of chooses, or an editor chooses to keep in or not keep in. But I guess for my own personal standards, if I'm reading a lot of dialogue and it's not really going anywhere, my ADD kind of is like squirrel, and I lose my focus. What I loved, so you know what I don't like very much, good contrast, is I love how Mike Shackle in We Are the Dead would touch on dialogue. You got a good grasp of who the characters are, what they do, why they're in the story, what's important, but there was no extra fluff, if you will. That won't, like I said, I won't stop a book because of that, but I prefer there to be trimmed up dialogue. That is my full and complete answer.
So, yeah.
On the magic that you guys mentioned, you make me think of Sanderson for two reasons. Brandon Sanderson.
I meant to say that. Yeah, that's the one guy I was going to say.
First off, he has his laws where like the magic is only as interesting as the consequences of it. So there shouldn't be just free flowing sparks and whistles flying or whatever flying all over the place. However, one of his books that I did put down early on, I don't remember what the name of, maybe War. No,
Way of the Kings.
No, I finished that.
Sorry.
Warbreaker, possibly. Either way, it's early on. There's a cell, and there's a guy who's about to escape jail, and he's looking at his reservoir, and it's got he's got 9,000 magic points or something.
Yes,
there was an actual number of, like, he's looking at his stats, and I realized I'm kind of describing lit RPG possibly right now. This was not lit RPG though. It was just a fantasy novel, and I was like, bro, you got magic points like that. It threw me out immediately, and I could not proceed. Warbreaker, and that's what I was thinking, but I wasn't sure. There was a count of something. Like, what's he looking at? Is it on his arm or like in his pocket? I didn't know where the number of, and I'm probably getting it way wrong. This has been years, but it didn't. I like like you said, subtle magic, which is funny coming from me because there are people who sing lightning into being to incinerate villages in a.
You're not describing your book at all.
Yeah, but it's not the lightning that's at fault. It's the way it's rolled.
It takes them a long time to pull it off. They have to summon it for a long time, and there are consequences when it's not done. You know.
One thing I love to do is when I get a comment from somebody who has been so nice to send me their book to read.
You want to hold that book up?
I do. I have to. So this is Langdon Franz.
Good on you.
Look, guys, the premise is dope. Check it out. Heirs of the Promise. He just commented. That's him. So I wanted to share that. Awesome cover too, brother. I love the purple.
Oh, it does look cool.
It does. And there's people who have to like carve ruins or like stuff into their skin daily to like keep their immortality type thing. So it just like breathes to my dark fantasy love. So Langdon,
point of showing books, that is definitely a good way forward. Yeah.
So I love that. So we've got some things that we love. We've got some things that we don't like. And the most beautiful thing about this, guys, is it's subjective. Sorry. And we're all allowed to have that, and it's wonderful. It's what makes us unique, and it's not only that, it's fun to learn. It's like, oh, you like this, I also like that, or you also don't like that. You know, it just makes it for a fun conversation. Alex, he says yes. Not there we go. Yes, it's Warbreaker.
I was about to look it up to see exactly how wrong I was in describing 7,000 breaths. That was it.
Yep. Look at you, bro.
It was so confusing.
The man himself, Andy Palaquin.
Hey, good grief.
An OG in the indie world.
Beard power.
Yes, and he does have just a handsome beard. The guy has.
Yeah.
He's just handsome in general from that tiny little picture I can see down there in the corner.
You're just a handsome guy. Thank you for popping in and sharing your handsomeness. We get along in that aspect. We're all handsome guys up here. Not afraid to say. Nick says, I gotta admit, I love stats, but it's super hard to work them into a novel without it feeling lame. So I kind of agree with Nick. If I'm playing a video game, and I know David can relate with this, Elden Ring.
You calling me a nerd?
But I can relate. I spent 120 hours with my 4-year-old son. Most of it me, not him. I would never let my 4-year-old play a video game that long. And I like the stats in video games, but when it comes to even lit RPG, like let's say the only one that I have that I can speak on is Dungeon Crawler Carl.
I've not read it yet.
Freaking rocks, dude. Oh,
I gotta read it.
You know what's even better than reading it? Listening to the audio book, dude.
Yeah.
Tom, speak on it.
Yeah. I binged all 6 audiobooks.
Really?
Book number 6 came out last month or month before. The Bedlam Bright. That's legit one of my favorite books of the year. Like Dungeon Crawler Carl is just the perfect lit RPG. He finds that balance between making it feel like a video game but making it readable. So he gives you stats, but it doesn't pull you out of reading it and enjoying it. It's just
cool. In the audiobook you'll hear ding ding ding, he's like this
no achievement.
No achievement. That was it. No achievement. And you're playing a video game and you get those and you're so excited, right? You just began the game. You're like, I don't know what I could possibly have done by now, but I got an achievement. And he makes it like Tom said. I don't know the guy who does the narration.
Jeff Hayes.
Jeff Hayes. Okay. Hell yeah, Jeff Hayes. You're the man. Somewhere. I hope you hear that one day. And I'm sure you have from many.
I'm sure he's listening.
He's got to be. The beard.
He does have a beard.
Does he?
Yeah.
Well, that's wonderful to know. We'll have to see if we can get a hold of him. But yeah, you're reading this book and like it starts so wacky. And you're like, how could I possibly get into this as much as everybody tells me I'm going to? But trust it. Trust the hype.
If you explain Dungeon Crawler Carl to someone, you'll turn them off it completely. You just need to get it and read it and experience it, and then you'll get it.
All right, Snow. She's an indie author as well. Thank you for popping in. I see you've been commenting, but yes, the beard has like Tom's. Mine's not quite as sentient as his, but it has recollection. My beard kind of fuzzes a little bit. It's getting knotted up in certain situations. It does listen.
Mine's creeping down, coming down.
I can see it
a little bit.
see, you have to push through those moments.
I
right
know.
there.
Look at Tom. Tom's just looking good. He's right over there. Nope.
Nope,
right over
he's
there.
right there.
Mm-hmm.
Look, one thing I can tell you for sure, as far as being on camera and pointing the way that you mean to point, you'll never get it the first
I'll get
time.
it wrong. That's why I got to put a picture up of you
Barely.
guys so I can know,
Yeah.
so we can Brady bunch this bitch.
Well, see, it all actually depends on whoever comes in first. So, like, I send you
That's
guys an
true.
invite, and if next time, David, you're number 2, you'll
Always
be where
late.
Daryl is.
Won't happen. I'm always late.
And you can always, without anybody saying who's the latest, because they're right under me.
Shit.
I told
No.
Yeah, Jim Keats. By the way, thank you, Jim. I just saw before
nice.
I came on that you subscribed to the channel, brother. Thank you so much for that. But he says Dungeon Crawler Carl is on Kindle Unlimited. Yes, that's a wonderful thing. There's so many great books. If you just, what is it, $11 a month? I think I pay.
Yeah,
It's like one of those ones I don't even like care because I use it so much. I'm like, yeah, I will pay for that. I don't care if it's $15 or so Bezos, you've got my money.
Is that the book? Is that a good entry to Lit RPG? Because I don't know where to begin. And yeah.
So for me, who's literally
you
only
kind of
read that
spoil
one
the
book.
others for yourself if you start with Dungeon Crawler Carl, but that's not a bad thing. Like there are still good ones that aren't Dungeon Crawler Carl.
I've heard that, Tom. I've heard start somewhere else because this guy does it so well that you're going to have high expectations.
He Who Fights with Monsters is good. That's another one that's up there as one of the best.
All right,
there are some that just are not good.
Beard stats.
I would seriously nerd out if had beard stats listed by each. We may have to do that. Like we have so many points, like by the size of our beard, we'll measure them before coming on camera.
Weakest. I'd be the weakest. I can tell.
Tom, unless he ever trims his beard, is way ahead of all of us, though.
Yeah,
he is the master of beard.
We're talking top trumps. Do you have top trumps in America? Yeah. Are we talking beard top trumps?
Yeah.
I don't know what that is. So it tells me I don't know if we have it in America.
So it's a card game, and you kind of have different stats. And you go, so you say like, I don't know, superheroes. I got Superman, and his flight powers are 10. And someone else goes, Batman's got no flight powers. You win. So we're gonna have beard sentience.
Yeah,
beard pigment.
Pigmentation.
I have to.
You've got the wisest.
A little bit, because one thing I respect a lot of things in this world, but very high on the list is my man DB Brooks. His freaking dreadlocks, bro, are on another level. They are the size of him plus more. How long have you been growing these out, dude?
Oh God, most of my life. They get trimmed every now and then, so I don't know. I'm getting to a point now, actually, when they get so long, I start getting neck ache. So I have to have a little trim.
I told my wife, because she wants to do dreads, and I think she would look good. There's very few people who would, and you look wonderful, my friend. You do. Your dread game is off the chart.
Nice.
And I respect it. But my wife, I bet DB is like, he's got some weight to that bad boy.
Yeah,
for sure.
Even since I shaved my sides, I've still got a bit of weight up there. It's especially wet.
Do you ever like catch them on something, or do you usually have them tied up pretty nice and tight? I mean, you've got experience.
They get everywhere. That is the downfall of having this hair, is that, like, you put a coat on and the hair goes up your sleeve. So I go to a gig and there's like a guy three rows down who's got your hair on his shoulder.
Yo, you just reminded me of something regarding a gig. I was at a gig one time. I was holding my beer, and the guy in front of me had dreads, and he's just doing this. And at one point, he dipped a dread in my beer, and it came out like a paintbrush and said, and painted the side of my face.
You still drank it.
I didn't care because we're at a show anyway, and I'm, who cares?
If you've ever been in a band, you can't be afraid of sweat, hair, beard hair.
Nah,
fuzz,
you can't care.
No.
Nah.
Nope. Armpit sweat, nothing.
And Daryl, you're a drummer, right?
Yeah.
I'm a sweaty drummer.
That's something Daryl and I have in common.
I'm a bassist. I'm an invisible bassist.
I have to say, I forgot to do something now that you just said that at the very beginning that I
Did we
have
play
to.
the theme song?
No, we didn't, but we will
Ooh.
right now.
Theme
I can
song.
still do that.
Bring it.
Yes.
This is
This-
the podcast that plays
in
the
my
theme song
glass.
halfway through the episode.
What'd you say, Daryl?
I'm going to fill my glass. Well,
Oh, there you go. There we
that
go.
up.
So this is Daryl's band. What's the name of your band, Daryl?
Terminal Sun.
Terminal Sun. I love it. So this is what I was supposed to play on when we came in. Here it goes.
The four Beardsmen of the Bookpocalypse.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now
Oh
it's
my
time.
Gotta
gosh.
keep going.
I know. Every time I hear it, I'm like, oh, it's too short. I've got to hear the rest of the song. Now
It can
you
play at
gave,
the end while we're listing all the credits and cast and all that kind of stuff. It can play the full thing. Can play at the end, the 3-minute long version.
we've got some real quick comments. There it is, Skeff, man. Look, I come. That's my name to you, by the way. I'm calling you Skeff. I think we've known each other for a little bit now. I can call you that. My
He's
guy
got a
Skeff.
beard.
He put his beard picture up in his PFP, guys.
PFP.
Yeah, and it's dope. And he
We've
says,
achieved everything we wanted to with the four Beardsmen.
I
That's
think
it.
so, yeah. Where do we go from here?
and he said that was sick, and he's referencing the real quick audio bite. And Caden Love, somebody who I cannot wait to read his novel.
Yes.
So Caden Love, lots of love for you, Caden Love, with your baby face. Love it, love what you're doing, love how you do it, and I can't wait to read what you write, my friend.
The other cool thing, Caden Love's wife is an artist, and she is designing Boss Man of Fanfi Addict as a Pokemon trainer.
Pokemon.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is
I did-
legitimately happening, and I'm so happy about it. I
I
cannot
keep
wait. to see
catching
it.
the ends of those threads. Like I keep seeing he's got a commission out, and it has something to do with Pokemon. But I did not know that was his wife.
Mhm.
That's amazing, Caden. You
Yeah.
picked a winner, my guy.
Caden's wife.
That really leads into something. My wife just threw these at me, and she's going to be doing the Beardpocalypse ones as well. These kind of stickers. So watch out for the
Nice.
merch. That's just mine. I'm sorry, but we're going to be doing the four Beardsmen of the. That's a mouthful sometimes, so I have to like really think about it. But the name is amazing, and I love the feel of it. But yeah, we're going to be doing that. Watch out for merch coming out. The wife's going to be doing it, and whoever else is going to be doing it as well. But I'm really excited for it. There's going to be like mugs. I was telling the guys before, so like you can drink your coffee and look at our beards. I mean, who doesn't want to do that, right? Ryan also
I
says,
need it too.
"What is it?"
I need the full version too. I was just reading his comment before you read it. Sorry.
No, I love that. So some challenges that I think you guys can probably give a little bit more, get a little bit more into than I can. I've got my answer, I think, but I can't wait to hear some things that you guys have come up with.
Oof.
What are some challenges that you guys have or have seen in the community as being an indie author? Kind of the same rotation. Daryl, you lead the way, my friend.
Indie author, yeah. So obviously you're a one-person shop. You do it all. I'm going to start with something very small, possibly insignificant, unless you had this problem. You know the cover of the book that wouldn't burn, Mark Lawrence. If you can picture that cover,
Mhm.
that's all the links that I'm trying to catalog in my phone, on my laptop. The links to where your book is being sold and what you're doing and where. This review, it's overwhelming how much you have to record and understand and just figure out. And when somebody says, "Oh, send me your book," and you're like, "Oh God," that's my number one. Organization of links.
That's a big one, and I think that's I hear that a lot talking to indie authors, but it's also like anybody who does like what any of us do here, that's a very hard thing to master, guys. Getting I had to interrupt. We were just talking about you, Joao. Tom was specifically.
We were saying nice things, I promise you.
Only
Wonderful.
those things.
We were talking about things that we love and things that we don't love in our fantasy books. And Tom was talking about your amazing magic system.
Smokesmiths.
The Smokesmiths, the Seeds of War. Yeah. So just
Actually,
real quick.
Zhao's a good example of what we're talking about in getting your book out there. I remember him just messaging me on Twitter saying, look, I've got this book coming out. Are you interested in reviewing it? And Zhao did the same thing. And that's another challenge you have as an indie author is who the fuck do I send my book to?
Yeah.
Who's going to be the one to actually look at it, review it? Do I send out physical copy to booktubers? They're going to hold it up for me. And we had the whole controversy this week where, you know, people have been told they need to pay for like an article or a review.
Yeah.
Bullshit. Don't pay for that. That's free.
I
had one guy message me out the blue once. He said, look, I'll pay you $10. Can you review my book? I said, no, I'll review your book. I'm going to buy a copy of your book. And that's how this works.
I love
Don't
it.
pay for
Tom.
reviews. That's not how it works. Don't pay for reviews. That's the PSA.
I've been absolutely inundated on Instagram recently with people wanting money for reviews. And
really?
When I started, I would have been like, oh, that's only like 10 quid. Yeah, of course. Yeah, I'll get that review. But like, not like I'm long in the tooth now, but I've been doing it long enough to know that this is wrong. And if I'm giving you money, the whole transaction is wrong. You should want to read my book, read it, and then tell the world what you think about it.
Bro,
but you don't know that as a new guy just turning up with this book that you inevitably think is probably absolute garbage because you feel so small in this kind of ocean of authors. So you throw everyone your money, and it's terrible.
Yeah. So, Tom, I wasn't sure if you're done with your challenges. If you were,
I've got
David?
off my soapbox now.
Cool.
Well, y'all got me thinking with the paid reviews and so on. The folks that do it, there's always the risk if you're a new author listening to this and you're like, well, I kind of need reviews and I need it bad enough. I have the cash. At least let me buy 5. Well, the thing about buying them, whoever's doing that might get busted by the system at play, Amazon or whatever, and then they're all gone. All the reviews they've done for anybody's gone. Just take that or leave it, you know. Now, regarding my own points to make on challenges. Oh God, promotion. I actually have some promoting, marketing. Whatever the word is for it specifically. I actually have some Photoshop chops, which is good, so I can make an ad here and there and make something more than just sharing the cover of my book. But it is a real challenge if you can be the best writer ever, but if you don't know how to mess with some graphics and make something that'll catch somebody's eye, and not just the cover, let's just say you went ahead and spent a lot of money on a good cover, you need more than that. And especially if you're going to get into one of the things like Instagram or TikTok, making videos and all that kind of stuff, that might be borderline alien to you. But you're going to need it if you're a one-man army. And now, arguably, you'd need it if you're traditionally published as well. But at least you got some folks in your team who can say, well, here's how. No, we got some folks to do that. Here's your advice. This is what's working for so and so. If you're an indie author, you're it, and you got to figure all that out. Which I have not even put any effort into videos, anything like that. I'd love to not have to, and I'm on the fence. Like, do I spend time trying to get good at a thing like this that I'm not passionate about, that I don't fucking care about, or do I work on the next book?
That's always the question. There's always the next book that needs to be written.
I kind of like that I'm going last because now you've kind of reminded me all about a couple things. First, Matt always comes in and really has been a fan of the Beard of Darkness book reviews, and now our podcast, the 4 Beardsmen of Bookpocalypse. and he's always got wonderful things. So huge shout out to a guy that's doing it right. My policy is to say no to every request to do to read a book. But if they send me a copy, I will show it live on stream and read the cover. Helps them out and makes it less awkward for me. I think there's give and take in that. And I have to agree with parts of that and say, just like what I did with Langdon's book. He sent it to me. Now I will read that one. But that's kind of like something that I talk to somebody. If somebody gets a hold of me and says they want to send me a review copy, I have morals, and this kind of touches on a little bit of everything that you guys said. They're going to have realistic expectations from me, how fast that's going to happen, and let them know, depending on my schedule, when we can talk. Because most of the time, at least I try 99% of the time, if somebody sends me a book, I'm going to do an interview with them. I'm going to post with their book. I am going to represent them the way that I would want to be represented. And I think that's wonderful. And if it's a book that you don't see yourself once you start into it, but you've done some promo, you've covered your basis for them as a human, doing what you both love, and he's put or she's put the work in to send to you and the money too. My direct answer to challenges to an indie author, I'm going to speak on as somebody who hears them a lot. Marketing. There's lots of people who are so good at writing, or sometimes it's a reviewer. They're so good at reviewing, but it comes down to really marketing yourself as that author. How to support me as an author individually. And if it's a reviewer, it's kind of what you said, Daryl. Having your links in order, being able to categorize and keep everything organized in an attractive way to keep somebody's attention. It's an art. Marketing is something that I think changes daily with the dreaded algorithm. Not something that I necessarily pay attention to, but what I hear is that it changes a lot. I just kind of do me to say it the best. I do what I think is right. And if somebody's going to be like, no, this is the way the algorithm, well, I'm sorry, but I'm just not into changing the way that I want to do it to please an algorithm. I want to read something too, touching on what Tom said. I was just contacted by an author, somebody that I agreed to read their ebook. And I'm reading verbatim. If I may, how much do you charge? And I told my wife, I said, oh my gosh, is that a thing? And I said,
on the table.
Yeah, I said absolutely nothing. And the next says, oh, wow, sorry for the question, blah, 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 this and that. So I got into this for my love and passion to do so. And I think anybody who wants to profit off the emotions of authors doing and putting out their heart, those are their babies. And you're going to try to play with that shit with money, guys? How dare you, really? Honestly, how dare you really put it in that section? It turns it to this ingenuine pay for play, and it really I hate to hear that you guys bringing that up, that it happens so much. It kind of breaks my heart a little bit.
Oh yeah, in the last 2 weeks, I've been approached probably 15 times on Instagram with people saying, do you want this? I'll put it on my page. I'll do this. I'll do that. I'll do that for $30.
Daryl, I must be doing something wrong because I'm not getting approached like that at all.
I don't know why, but all of a sudden, this has not happened all the time, but in the last few weeks, bombarded. Crazy.
I like a couple comments I've seen. First, I'll do RH No. Remarketing. Why are you calling me out? Geez, I'm so challenged by marketing. You are not alone. And Hail the Lore, somebody who's often in my lives. Thank you for being here, brother. Yeah, I promote and review what I enjoy for free. That's advertising, not a genuine review anymore when money is involved. Yes, dude, it's not genuine. It's not.
That's the one. Yeah.
Also, speaking as someone who's been a book reviewer for almost 3 years, you get free books. Why would you want to charge people money? Like, you love to read, get a free book, read a cool book, write a review. That's the transaction.
And you get it generally. You get it first as well. You get it before it gets released.
Caden is saying he's going to pay us in love for a review.
I'll accept the love. I will.
I'll accept
That's
that currency. Yeah.
Yes, that currency is 100% what I'm about. Matt said, yeah, that is surreal to me, brother. Dude, yes, me too. I've literally never been offered money for a review. I can't believe that, Matt, because you do reviews better than most people, my guy. And just from a strictly, if I was an author, I can see, not that it's right, somebody who thinks that it's right saying, hey, I'm an author and I would love for this particular booktuber to I would love to pay them to review my books because you know that it's going to get sales. But like he also says, this takes the genuinity of it out, if that's a word. It takes it's not a genuine. Anytime that there's bias, whether if you gain something by reading something other than that experience, in an honest way, I think that it's just a shitstorm from the start.
Yeah.
So yeah. And then I don't remember why I wrote this down, but you touched a little bit on you do this for your love of books, and that's why I started this. Like, I not one single time did I ever think that money would ever be a part of. Now YouTube can pay me once I'm monetized, sure.
We got to get you to 1,000.
I mean,
Sorry, is that nuts and bolts? I'll leave that out.
No, that's fine. Yeah, subscribe, guys. That's how you know.
Now.
What I use, StreamYard, costs money per month. Stuff happens. So in that way, that's not at all the same thing as saying, hey, review this for some money.
Right.
That enables me to take my love for what indie authors, especially who I've chosen to really niche with. I represent traditional authors. I talk to traditional authors, but I talk to way more indies. I want to be an indie author. That's really where my heart is. But the pursuit of knowledge is really what I'm after, and that comes from both. But yeah, that's why I started my channel. So I think we kind of got a little heartfelt, guys. That was a wonderful topic to cover. One that I didn't realize was such a prevalent thing in the community for people to be like, hey, there's money involved now. Will you do this for money? It cheapens it, guys. Stop that shit if you're doing it. Do it for the love of literature.
Get them.
Yeah, sorry if I went on a
will
tangent.
say there's one slight caveat in that you do get legit book tour companies like escapist book tours, because they don't do it anymore, where you actually are paying them for a service and they use their contacts and they'll get you a blog tour. That is slightly different. That's
a service that they're offering you.
Yeah.
Service is one thing. Service versus review.
Yeah.
Now, if they're like, okay, I'm going to pay you $10 to review my book positively, it's tainted.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. See, I've approached, the reason we even met in the first place is because I approached Tom and Matt with a book saying, can you please have a look at this book?
I did too.
Just like, but I sat there and I kind of, being completely transparent, I sat there and I found you and I saw you reviewing, both of you, and I thought, who the hell am I? What do I do? How do I approach these people without sounding like a complete dick? I've written a book. It might be terrible, but somehow I plucked up the courage to go, have a look at this book. You might like it. But I didn't know anything at that point, who you were, what you were thinking, whether you would charge me, whether you would just laugh at me. And there's a million authors all in the same place going, where do I go?
Where do I start?
Yeah. We don't know that you're decent human beings who are just going to go, of course, yes, send it out. Of course.
I'm so glad you did, because look where we're at.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, when you messaged me, you did lead in with, "I really like your beard," and then it was, "Can you read my book?" So that got you most of the way. I'm
Meant to
not gonna
be.
lie.
Yeah. I've got a stick on beer. This is just all to get in the community.
Charlie, who I have to, and Tom, you know this just as well as I do. Charlie's the man. Charlie's it. DB, you know this too. His reviews are that of gold, just like Tom's and Daryl. Until recently, I hadn't read a lot of your reviews, dude. You're very good. I love reading your reviews. But Charlie, Tom hit the nail on the head. You review and get free books. That's the greatest deal. It is. I even feel bad about that, let alone asking for money. Like, people are sending me a book for the probably cost them 10, unless you're DB Rook. And I said, look, I need some of my homeboys' autographs next to me at all moments. And he sent me this from across the pond, guys. I don't know if you've ever checked out postage from across
I'm slacking.
pond.
I gotta send you something.
But yeah, DB
Oh, yeah.
is Daryl is along with the other two as well, or else I wouldn't be here. But I have a chance to show off his book. I'm going to do that. You know, it's just, you meet these people and they change you and your perception of people in whole. Like, this indie community has changed my perception of a lot of things. It's something so beautiful. My whole family's involved. You see me, you hear from me, but my kids are starting to ask about books. My wife, I got my wife reading. We both were not readers before I created this channel. I was a reader first because I got sick and blah, blah, blah. I started reading to go on an adventure that I couldn't take physically. And then I talked her into reading some books. And now she reads so much faster than me, guys. I'm so jealous. She reads so fast. But yeah, I think we covered some challenges for sure. Marketing, some BS on the money front. So the apocalypse is happening, guys. The political boundaries, the political powers at will are starting to be like, I'm out of here. I'm going to go save my family. There's no Fox News, CNN, ABC, whatever you watch available. And what book are you taking with you to your bunker or wherever you are going to be enduring this apocalypse?
Do you know what? We spoke about this in the green room before we went live, and I legit thought we'd run out of time for this question. So I have not thought about it at all.
I can't decide anything. This is really, really difficult.
I'm grabbing like as much as I can.
Okay, so single book. Is that a deal? Single book, single author?
Okay, let's do this. Since it's such a hard thing to do, okay, if it's a single book, wonderful. You have a wonderfully loved book that if there's one that you would grab, but if it's a trilogy or
IP.
a saga.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. So obviously there's a billion books that I adore in a billion different ways. But if I'm stuck on my own, everything's on fire, the world has gone, I'm gonna need a bit of a pep talk. I'm gonna need to believe in myself, and I'm gonna need something to strive for. So I'm going Drenai Saga, David Gemmell.
Ooh, I didn't expect that. I expected Robin Hobb.
I was thinking Robin Hobb too. When I said IP,
Robin Hobb for you, yeah.
Robin Hobb is my like ultimate icon, but probably in that situation.
Shocker, that's right.
In my own life.
I think she would. I think she's picking Book Mama. I think she's choosing The Lonesome Dove because she loves it so much that she won't finish it.
It's really good.
Got like 3 pages left, guys. She will not finish it.
So oof.
I've been doing the audiobook, listening to the audiobook, and I've not got very far in, but it is incredible.
Oh, Gus. He inspired so much Abercrombie, dude. Gus.
Yes.
I forgot his last name.
That's how I found out.
Or whatever.
Abercrombie was talking about influential books, and I've seen pretty much every interview Abercrombie's done, and
Same.
and he talks about this book as a foundational book for him. It's his favorite book, and I said I got to grab that, and my wife got to it before me.
It's so abruptly brutal too.
Nick,
Trust. That's right.
There you go. So Tom, are you willing to dive into the series, trilogy, book, whatever you choose?
So, the world is on fire.
In the world.
These great Lovecraftian supernatural horrors are patrolling the wasteland. The bunker door is closing.
Like that one.
Yeah.
And I'm grabbing 50 Shades of Grey. No, I'm not.
Yeah.
The Hobbit. Because that was the
Hobbit.
book that started it all for me, The Hobbit. Just because that it's so easy to read it again.
Mm-hmm.
And if I still got room to in my arms, then the rest of the Lord of the Rings, I think, just because I need something chunky and long.
That fits.
Yeah.
Random comment. John Douglas in Louisiana, he had no idea that Tom was British.
That's fair. Neither did I.
It's wonderful the things that we find out. Matt, I knew, bro. Everybody who watches you
Holy
knows
moly.
this. All 10 of them, right? Well, there's more than 10 because you've got E.C. Esselmont, right?
You're going to be over encumbered and you can't run if you do that. But
Yeah. No fast travel.
no fast travel for you. We slug it.
Fair. That's fair. So, David, what is it for you?
First, I want to appreciate Tom's choice because that is it goes a lot for a short book, The Hobbit. It goes also, it was my first, probably my break into fantasy. For a short book, it goes a ton of places and it covers a ton of stuff. And it's a feel good freaking book when everything's burning around you. Okay, so mine is possibly a little tongue in cheek. Governments have fallen, martial law is in place. I'm with my small faction of other survivors of this horrible hellscape. I want a book that entertains, but also educates. And also the one that I had on my shelf so I could hold it up in front of you fellas. And that's going to be
Nice.
the Zombie Survival Guide.
That's going to be your most practical answer.
Practical is a big word here. Do you have it too? Nice. Oh, it's got a lot of practical info, and not just about fighting zombies, but about surviving and fighting your fellow lawless, ravagers and so on.
Yeah.
Is that my actual book that I would take, for example, on a deserted island? Maybe not, but it's a great answer to the question, I believe.
Yes.
I think
Practical
it's
purposes.
Wonderful answer. And now I'm going to give an answer based on what I have heard, not what I've read, because I'm new. I'm not new, but I haven't read these foundational books such as, David Gemmell and Robin Hobb and Malazan, stuff like that. I haven't read all those yet. So what I'm grabbing is The Hobbit, and that also is going to be right next to the Lord of the Rings trilogy and the Silmarillion and whatever else along the same, Middle Earth that I can have on the shelf. I'm grabbing all those because when the world starts anew, I can still say, hey, this is where I got my inspiration. And this is where I'm going to learn to write when the world starts reconstructing itself. So
Nice.
That's my
Solid.
answer. The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings.
Cool. I dig it.
Yeah,
Foundation.
absolutely. So I would also like kind of a spur of the moment thing. Sorry to crack you guys, but we got to keep it genuine. Name your most influential book as a young reader. Now, whether you found fantasy as a young man or a middle-age, whenever you found it, what was that book that kept you going? Daryl.
So when I was really young, I found the Conan books, which were a huge deal for me, Robert E. Howard. But actually, the thing that got me into properly reading fantasy and exploring fantasy and diving all the way in was Magician, Raymond E. Feist. That is the book that I for many years of my life, if I ever saw it in a bookshop, I would buy it another copy just so I could give that copy to someone else.
That's amazing. And
Beautiful.
genuine and honest and kind too. Tom.
So yeah, a little anecdote. When I was 9, my school had a huge flood, and our classroom basically got wiped out. And we spent an entire term in these porta cabins, just like temporary prefab classrooms. And in the corner of the classroom was a bookcase, which was where I first picked up The Hobbit. Next to The Hobbit on the bookcase was Joe Dever's Dawn of the Dragons, which I don't know if any of you have heard of the Lone Wolf series.
Mm-mm.
Oh yeah.
Like a series of game books where you're a lone wolf, and it's like, do you want to twat the goblin on the head with a stick? Turn to page 72, or do you want to run away screaming? Turn to page 193. So it's like this TTRPG kind of deal, and it was basically The Hobbit, dragons, cloaked figures with swords, fighting monsters. Yeah,
Some
it was
illustrations,
amazing.
right?
What?
And they had illustrations in them sometimes.
Yeah, Gary Chalk, who amazingly follows me on Twitter because he likes my
What?
beard,
That's
which is
awesome.
amazing. That
The
was a cool
beard
moment.
brings people together.
Yeah, it's got its own gravitational pull.
It does.
Black hole, almost.
Especially yours.
But yeah, Dawn of the Dragons and the estate of Joe Dever, because he passed away a few years ago. His son has his own indie publishing company. They're redoing every single book, which is going to be a proper money sink for me. Republishing all of Joe's books, and yeah, it's getting people into Lone Wolf again, and it's why I love things like D&D nowadays. Which, if y'all stick with the podcast, we might be doing some of that as well.
I'll be doing
Mhm.
lots of learning. I have never played a tabletop game ever, and I want to so bad. So maybe this will be the chance to get me going.
So I think the way we need to do this is teach this man to play
Yeah.
in the podcast.
Yeah.
Yes.
There we go.
We could just
I
have
love
a
it.
different episode each time, throwing different RPGs at Matt.
Yeah. I'm down with it. David.
Actually, if anyone has any in particular they want us to throw at Matt, then stick them in the comments. We'll read
Yeah.
it and plan
Throw
future
things at
episodes.
Matt's section. Yeah.
John
Voice.
is a dungeon master, and he can teach. All right. Well, I'm looking forward to that kind of stuff because I know nothing. So when I say that kind of stuff, I know that's broad. But I will be furthering my vocabulary. David, so foundational book that kind of kept your motor running in the fantasy realm.
Well, I don't want to rip off Tom's answer. It's not the exact same books. So when I was young, obviously very young, we would take trips across the country to go see my grandparents, and my mom would read in the car, and that's how I first heard of a lot of things. C.S. Lewis, Tolkien, I can't remember what all. But when I would go in bookstores, I would always I found these books that they were like he said, you can turn to page 2 if you want to run this way, turn to page 19 if you want to run this way. And some of them had stat pages on them. And the ones in particular were Fighting Fantasy by Steve Jackson and Ian Livingstone. And I just had to look that up because I'd almost forgotten. But there was a pile of these books. And so if I would ever find myself, there was a little bookstore in my hometown, which is a small town anyway, very small, like used bookstore. The aisles were very close, and you get it's kind of a maze, and you'd end up all the way in the back where nobody was buying anything. And that's where I'd find all these books. And I never had enough money to clear the shelves out. So I'd only be able to buy a couple at a time, 1 or 2 at a time, or I'd get my mom or whoever to buy a couple for me. But each one had its own little stat sheet. And I'd write down, unlimited health. The dice roll would always go my way, just so I could go through and do whatever I wanted to. If I was going to flip to page 16, in case I was going to fall in a pit trap, I'd hold my page so I could come back to 12.
You read a book like this.
Yeah,
So difficult.
holding all the places. Anyways, yeah, those Fighting Fantasy books, and I bet I have some on my shelf out there right now. still to this day. And they got real complex.
Do you remember the Way of the Tiger books? There were it was basically fighting fantasy, but all ninjas.
Maybe.
Amazing.
Maybe because I branched out. I got all the fighting fantasy, and then I was like, I need more, and I kept on, searching.
But even R.L. Stein got in on the action with Goosebumps. He did the Give Yourself Goosebumps books, and that was like a huge horror story. And that was cool.
That was very much my upbringing. I was born in 1990, and that was thriving. I remember the old R.L. Stein Goosebump videos with like the little the Muppet guy, the what do you call those? Ventriloquist. My wife's got my back. Support systems, guys. You got to have them.
Yes.
Ventriloquist dummy that's like creepy as all shit, dude. And so I love that. Oh, thank you for popping in, Elizabeth Tavler. I mean, we could go on and on about
Great blog
about Beth. Yes, Grimdark Magazine, Before We Go blog, all that fun stuff. Thank you for popping in to the one and only 4 Beardsmen of Bookpocalypse. So, for me, I'm going to go with one that I hope that you guys go out and read, because it is why I stuck with fantasy and didn't go to horror or any other genre. It is, and he's a newer author. It is Ordinary Monsters by J.M. Miro. And if you haven't heard of it, don't feel bad. Most people haven't. He has one book out, and that's it. His next one comes out is called The Dustbringer. It's got a very soft magic system. He manipulates dust, and that's how he arrives. Just out of, like, there's so many things that I just had to keep in my head and hope to read more of. I hope to one day do so. I did one review of that book on my channel. I want to redo it, and maybe the next one when it comes out. But that was very foundational for me finding fantasy at the age of 29. Ordinary Monsters by J.M. Miro. Check it out, guys. It's wonderful. It's like a dark academia, like Harry Potter, but not Harry Potter for adults. Not at all Harry Potter. But if there's one thing that I can, with my lack of a million books to reference from, there's a dark academia about it, but it's very much for adults. Instead of like wands, there's people who have like body malfunctions and like rotting meat that is part of their body. Like, it's really good. So that's what kept me going. Excuse me.
That's the first time I've heard you mention that book, actually. Yeah.
I'd not heard of it. Or I think maybe
amazing. I had. If I could grab it, but I've just rearranged my bookshelf. I built all my bookshelves, so I've accumulated so many. They're just like spread out throughout like my front room and computer room now. But yeah, so gosh, do you guys have anything else that we haven't touched on that you want to throw out into the realm here?
Well, I'm interested to see if anybody wants to ask us anything.
Yeah, that would be wonderful.
Throw it out there.
Let me back up because I've missed a whole lot. If you have something that you want to ask us or recommend that we do in the future, please do.
Not to be rude, but I'm hopping off for 1 sec.
Yeah, do your thing, brother.
Be right back.
I love that, Alex. I must have read 30 Goosebump books as a kid. Yeah, dude. I wish I could say the same, but like I watched the show, so I got some of the experience.
I'm going to put you on the spot, Matt. What's your favorite Goosebump story?
It would have to be the one that I can remember, with the ventriloquist, and like I don't remember very many specifics, but there's like a gutter, and some like green goo dripping into the gutter, and there's like people watching TV, and it comes to life. It may be like the very first episode, but gosh, it's been so long since I've watched it. I couldn't really tell you. It's been quite a bit. Now I do see. I think it's Netflix. They've got the newer Goosebump movie, which is good. It's got Jack Black in it.
Yeah.
But they've got the old episodes, and that's why I'm saying I think it's the first episode. So here's one. John, He does know he can just turn the camera and mic off. Yeah, well, maybe he doesn't, but that's okay. We're all learning here.
This is
We're all-
episode
we're
one.
all
We're still working out
serious.
some of the kinks here, John.
Yeah,
We're not all as versed as you,
veterans.
John. Alex says, "What will be the frequency of the Beardsmen of Bookpocalypse?" Well,
We don't
I'll
know
say
yet.
what. Yeah, that's the basic answers. We don't know yet, but I would like for it to be weekly, man. I would like for it to be once a week. What about you guys? What would you say is like a perfect schedule?
I mean, every week would be wonderful. It might not be attainable.
Uh-huh.
Maybe every couple of weeks.
Every
The thing
couple
is,
weeks, yeah.
All
Yeah.
4 of us are dads, and we got lucky today with things like sleep schedules
Yeah.
and kids not running in. So we could try weekly, but we can't guarantee it will remain childless.
I like what Daryl said, and he kind of reminds me of a point we've talked about. I think that bi-weekly would probably be the best way to do it. It gives people enough time to look forward to it, us to come up with some really good topics. And look, there's going to be no problem with filling in lots of talk space. If you look to your left top of your screen, we've already been here almost an hour and a half. And yeah, your actual screen, David. Come on.
Right over there.
Yeah, there it is. So we want to touch on what's hot in the indie community, and I think that maybe every week would be too frequent.
Too much. That's too much beard.
Too much beer for you
Much
guys.
beer.
We're
Which is
thinking
an
about you.
oxymoron.
So maybe our next podcast, which will hopefully be within the next couple of weeks, we'll see if we can do the bi-weekly, at least monthly.
Yeah.
At least monthly.
Yeah.
So in other words, no guarantee for another December or even 2023. We'd love
No
it,
guarantees.
but no guarantees just yet.
What I
So
do want to
consider this
point
the
out,
holiday special for now.
Could be the
What I-
holiday special.
I
Festivus.
do want to point out, just because I know numbers, but just going live quite a bit, it's been a sustained, pretty good number. There's been 20 people here consecutively, and that changes a lot. But that's quite a bit for a first podcast, guys. So people are interested. I can see that, and I love that. Nick says, favorite anti-hero or badass in fiction?
Oh.
Daryl.
Okay. Favorite anti-hero. Oh God. See, I think a little bit of a cop out, but Cameron Johnston, Maleficent 7.
Yep.
Well, everyone is an anti-hero. Beautiful book that kind of somehow, like you read a book when there's a really evil character, and it morphs down to the same old formula, and you for a minute it's all great. They remain evil all the way through, but you still root for them, and you still want success, and it's beautifully crafted. It's a standalone book, but the whole world is just living and breathing. Love it, absolutely love it. It's an easy answer, but that's what I'm throwing at you.
Sure. No, and I love that you said that. That book's been on my TBR for a while now, so I need to read that.
I when I first saw it, I thought it was kind of going to be a bit of a novelty book, but it's not. It's not a novelty book. It's wonderful.
I can't wait to check that out. I've heard lots of good stuff about it. Tom, do you have one in mind?
I mean, that's such a hard question, Nick. It's episode 1, man. Come on.
Well, don't say
Clooney-
favorite. Just say a great one.
Clooney the Scourge. Clooney the Scourge. He's one of my favorite villains ever. And he's a badass. He's not heroic at all. He's awful. But he's just such a satisfying villain in fiction. And I haven't really found anyone like him in a book since.
That's
Yeah, so-
amazing.
Clooney.
David.
Not necessarily favorite, but a great that comes to mind, and this is going to be such a common and perhaps boring answer, but Sand Dan Glokta. Because as far as a despicable human, You know that he wants the best for the kingdom, and that's what he's out to get. And he will chop as many digits off and as he needs to in the process, and have as many innocent people killed and thrown in the worst jail ever. Whatever he has to do, undergo a siege, be on the wrong end of a siege, all for the better of the kingdom.
And you love him all the way through.
You do.
Yes. And he hates stairs, and he hates pudding or gruel or whatever it is that he has to eat.
Especially stairs.
Fucking hates stairs, and he's sarcastic.
See, this is the problem. When you answer first, everyone gets a better answer than you.
Why do you think I'm answering last?
You'll be late next time.
So I have two, and it's going to seem really cheap that I'm saying this, but I swear on everything that I love that it's the truth. It's a toss-up between Sledge, Nick, Sledge, and Sandan Glokta. It is a top. So I'll tell you why. Sandan Glokta, there's a part at the end where he's talking to Major West of the blade itself. And West comes to see him at his home, comes to see Glokta. And Glokta's pissed because they were in a war together, and Glokta gets really injured. And he's mad that his best buddy, his war buddy, never came to see him. And it's the first time Joe Abercrombie brought almost a tear to my eye, because he's sad. He's mad at West. And West says, "What are you talking about? I came to check on you right after I got back from the war, but your mother turned me away." And all of a sudden, Glokta's a human, right? Yeah. And there was one of the very few literary moments that I remember, and it really brings an emotion to me every time I think about it, was that. But then I have Sledge, who is this guy who has the biggest heart, and he is doing what he's doing in Sledge versus a Labyrinth for a girl that he's no longer like seeing, but he cares about deeply and doesn't want things to happen to her, showing his human side. And he's good on military specs. Like I remember there's a part where he talks about through a thermal scope, you have to put snow in your mouth or else you're going to be seen. Like you bury yourself in snow, but you have to put it in your mouth too, or else they'll see your breath. And it's those little nuances that Nick, you put in Sledge versus a Labyrinth that made me just dive right into his character. But thinking about it, it's an anti-hero that has a very human side to them, that not necessarily they're trying to hide, but isn't the first thing you see when you read that character. So
let's be honest. Yeah. He was hoping for that answer. Let's just be honest.
I think he knew it, because I think I've told him that before. But a very honest answer.
I've got to read him. I can tell.
Dude, bro, you won't put it down. It's a freaking amazing. It's his first book, dude. He's a basketball player. I love it. And I get to talk to him tonight. I'm so excited.
Yeah,
so later on tonight. That's amazing.
Yeah. As far as this episode's gone, man, I told the guys before we started, I said, our chemistry is really something special. We do something great together. I think that it's a very honest thing. And this kind of just drives home the point in the foundation of this, which Daryl is from your head. And you made such a great idea. And I think that it's coming to life in such a beautiful way that I can't wait to continue, man.
Thanks, Daryl. Thanks for facilitating us all, Matt.
Yeah, 100%. So
thanks for not shooting for 4 years, Tom.
Yeah. All for this.
4 more years.
4 more years. 4 more years. So I just would like to say thanks to everybody who showed up. Of course, thanks to my my co-hosts here, and we're all guests on this show. I love that. We all had our wonderful voice to put in, and it works. And I can't wait to see what happens next. Do you guys have anything else? If not, we'll wrap it up and kind of look forward to our next one.
I think just as a cliffhanger, we got a great question from John Douglas in the comments we should save for next episode.
What is it?
Yeah, I
Let's
can
get the
see it.
anticipation going.
If
Yeah,
you
what is
could
it?
fight any other author in a cage match, who would it be? And do you think you can win?
It's a very John question.
That's
I
There
think
it
that's what
is.
we need to think about.
Come on,
So-
dude.
So we'll think about that, John, sincerely,
Yeah.
because I've answered that
Yeah.
question a couple times for you, but you're
Jesus.
going to get a great answer because we'll start our podcast with that the next time.
Who's this? Who's the smallest author I can find? Like the most miniature human being.
So I think that ends on a beginning in a wonderful
Yep.
way. Thank you, John.
Beautiful.
But
Thank you, John.
Daryl, David, Tom, man, this has been fun. I can't wait for our next one. For you guys that showed up to watch live, thank you so much.
you,
Yeah,
everyone.
this has been amazing.
Yeah.
And for you guys that will watch in the future, thank you as well. And we'll see you guys next time, okay?